Alright, what's good with y'all boys, man? It's AD. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, basically what I do is I take my own experiences and I break them down and I teach them in a way people can understand. And if you're already subscribed, welcome back. So you see what the title says, right? Introverted to extroverted. Now me, throughout my life, I was not the biggest extrovert at all whatsoever. Sometimes it wasn't even the fact that I was scared to talk to people. It was just, I just never really had that. I never really seen a point in talking to strangers or other people. I always grew up thinking I was just antisocial, or maybe I had like social anxiety. I didn't even know what social anxiety was back then though. Like I just always felt these things. I'm just like, why am I not like everybody else? Why can't I talk to other people like everybody else? These past few weeks I told myself, I want to start being more social. I want to start talking to more people, right? Now these changes that I've seen, like they were actually pretty drastic changes, if I'm being honest. It almost felt like suddenly I was just like, almost damn near like a social butterfly. But then when I look back, I remember like this didn't just happen suddenly. Like it was there were certain actions that I did that just built up that momentum for me to actually do it. So obviously I wanted to know like why I was being like this. Like why did I change so much? Like what really happened inside my head? So now I figured it out. So now I'm gonna tell you guys. So what I'm gonna tell you, you probably never even heard it like this before, right? I'm not just gonna sit up here and tell you to just stop being shy and just go talk, right? Which that helps, right? But I feel like that never helped me. But when I learned it like this, it really clicked for me. So what we have to understand is you are already extroverted or outgoing, whatever you want to call it, right? You already have the characteristics of somebody that's very socially magnetic, outgoing, extroverted, right? The problem is your interior self-image doesn't allow that. Let me explain. You have an interior self-image, basically the image of yourself of who you think you are on the inside, right? And the exterior self-image, basically like the self-image or the image that people can see. Being extroverted and outgoing starts in the interior self-image. So if somebody's interior self-image is extroverted, right, then obviously that would translate into the exterior self-image. That's what people will see. People can tell if somebody's extroverted. That's because that person sees themselves as extroverted. But what happens when somebody's not extroverted, right? If you say, oh yeah, I am just an introverted person, you're attaching the introvertedness to yourself, into your self-image. So because of that, your actions must follow that, right? So if you think that about yourself, your actions must follow. So obviously, your exterior self-image will show that you are introverted and you don't like talking to people, or at least you can't talk to people, or you think you can't talk to people, right? Because remember, you actually can. So now that we got that out the way, right? So what does it mean to be socially magnetic or to be extroverted, right? Now it's actually super duper simple, right? So basically the state that your brain has to be in, or the state of someone's brain that's very outgoing or socially magnetic, whatever you want to call it, right? It's usually a result of low monitoring in their brain, low threat in their brain, and high expression. Now I'll break this down a bit further. So low monitoring really means low self-observing. So basically, if you're talking to somebody, you're more so focused on how you look to them and what you're saying than the actual interaction itself. And you might say things like, "Did I say slash look right?" Oh, let me put this right here. Right? So these are thoughts that usually pop up during or after a conversation. Now this can actually prevent you from saying the right things. Worrying about saying the right thing prevents you from saying the right thing. Because really, there is no right thing to say. So low threat would mean a stable self-image. Your interior self-image is stable enough, right? So you don't let interactions basically contradict your own self-model. I'll give you a very common example on what I mean by that. You ever seen a dude, like he goes up to a girl and he's like, hey, like, you look good, like, what's your number? And the girl, like, low-key rejects him, and then he starts getting, like, mad as hell, right? That's because he let that interaction, he let her say no define him for a second. And so in order to basically regain his pride back, he starts getting mad, like, saying, like, oh, I ain't want you anyway, you look ugly, she not even all that anyway, right? Like, that, I'm sure you heard people say that before. But people with a stable self-image, they'll simply just be like, okay, have a nice day. Basically, these people If they get rejected, they see themselves as somebody that gets girls. And because that girl rejected him, that threatened his self-image. So in order to, I guess, assuage the situation, he gets mad saying like, oh yeah, she wasn't even all that. She was mid, right? Now just basically take that example, apply it to just every other interaction. If an interaction doesn't go how they want it to go, if they like stutter or like say something that doesn't really make sense, right? They think, oh, right, I forgot, I'm not extroverted, I'm introverted. But really, somebody that's socially magnetic, they don't let these contradictions define them. So because of that, the brain doesn't tag the interaction as a threat. A threat to what? The self-model, aka your self-image, your interior self-image. And next is high expression. Basically, you're being yourself around everyone, and you have little to no self-filtering. Now, obviously, in certain environments, we have to filter out our words a bit, right? But what I'm saying is, like, you basically have the same demeanor towards everybody. You act how you want to act around people. All right, what's good with y'all, man? It's the next day. I'm finishing up this video now. But I want to cover something very important. The process of how this works is not linear at all. Like, your growth is not going to look like this. It's going to look a little something like this. That's how it's going to look. And I think it's important to say that because the minute we're growing and we hit a little roadblock right here, we think to ourselves, this isn't for me. Now, in reality, this is just your old programming speaking. And I say this because I have went through this when I had times where a conversation didn't go how I wanted, or just a certain moment just kind of backfired on me. I thought, yeah, this isn't for me. But really, this is just the process of getting there. Because the reality is one off day doesn't undo all the other growth that you're gonna get. Next, I want to cover uncertainty tolerance, okay? What we have to understand is social interactions are 60 to 70% certainty. It is not 100% certainty. And I think certainty is something that we all try to look for pretty much in everything we do. This can be like trying to look for the right thing to say, trying to mentally run how an interaction will go, and not having the tolerance to just engage in something without knowing 100% how it will fully go. And my problem, and I think maybe yours is too, is you are trying to run a precision model in a probability game. You're looking at this like you're trying to play chess. Now, last but not least, it's time to take action. Now, when I say take action, then people get scared, right? People think I mean to go start full-blown conversations with everybody. That is not what I'm telling you to do. I want you to start very, very small. Super small, easy things you can do is give compliments, or you can ask questions. So when I say ask questions, say you see a person with a cool tattoo, you can ask them, hey, nice tattoo. What made you get it? What does it mean to you? Regardless if you're actually curious or not, this is just getting the reps in, okay? Also, this one's a little bit harder, but make eye contact more often. You're not going to be good at this the first time you do it, so I recommend at least just try to do it. It doesn't got to be perfect. Just try to get it out there. Some things I don't want you to do is don't monitor yourself. When you're speaking to somebody, stay in the present moment. Don't ask, don't think how you look. How do you look right now? How do you sound right now? Don't worry about it. Don't reflect too often after combos. I know sometimes when I get done speaking with somebody, I would normally reflect on how I probably looked, how I sounded, how they probably interpreted me, or how they perceived me. Don't worry too much about it. Like I said, we're here to just trying to get the reps in. We're not trying to be an extreme social butterfly. Just trying to get some reps in, and you don't want to reflect too hard after these reps because these are, like I said, they're practice reps. We're not trying to be perfect. Be yourself. Now, I say be yourself because I fell into a cycle a few years ago where I was trying to be somebody I wasn't. I got good results, but eventually I got burnt out from trying to be that somebody that I wasn't. So definitely just be yourself. I mean, you save a lot more energy doing that. And you stay a lot more authentic to yourself. And last but not least, build up microdent tolerance because you're going to get some microdents. Literally ask the most socially magnetic person you know. They will tell you they get these microdents. Even me, I've seen great progress, but guess what? I still feel these microdents. The only difference is I'm building up a tolerance for it. I don't let it define who I am. If I have an awkward or like a quote unquote bad moment, then I just kind of just move on from it now, which is crazy for me to say because I was not like that before. All right, guys, that is the end of the video. I try not to make it too complicated. I try not to make it too long. And honestly, not gonna lie, another thing that's helped for me is just talking to a camera in general. I started making content like around September 2025, and that's low-key helped because it's almost like when I speak, I know how I'm gonna sound. I know what words to say, and I know how it's gonna sound to the other person because I'm always watching myself talk. So honestly, the last tip I would say is just start getting a camera and just talk to yourself. You don't even have to post it. Just talk to yourself on the camera and just look at it. But that's it, man. If you have any questions, drop them down in the comments. All right, I will answer them. If you have any video recommendations, also drop them down. And you can follow my TikTok too, ad.rewired. I'm pretty consistent on there, so I'm trying to be consistent on here too, obviously. And that's it, y'all. I'll catch y'all in the next one.